Architects will not be replaced by AI.
You think associates will? Maybe the principal architect stays there.
No. It's all, right?
When we move from hand to computer, this is just a natural progression of another level of intelligence coming on board.
I believe you're the mafia of the industry. At least that's what everyone calls you. So do you prefer architecture or interior design? Pick one.
I pick the one that makes the most money.
Yeah. Most people call me Kaif Faquih. I am principal of Faquih and Associates. We do a lot of work which is bespoke, very exclusive, high-end. Our strength, I would say, is towards design which beyond the ordinary experience, something that gives delight and enchantment to people.
Hi, I'm Yatin Patel. Founder and principal at DSP Design and CEO of Kala Gate Collective. At DSP Design, we're a multifaceted design organization with different verticals under large-scale residential developments, commercial architecture and interiors, hospitality. I'm also a founding member of EDI, and at Kala Gate Collective, we build bespoke homes. A part of that, I'm also one of the founding members of Grid Sense Digitectura.
So I have a more creative question for y'all. If there's any structure that you can recreate with your taste, what would that be?
So, I mean, in the current context, there's a lot that we would like to I would like to create.
Okay.
There's so many public buildings that are lost opportunities. You see the city, you see the coastal road, you see the entry and exit, the really fancy structures that they've built, which are a complete eyesore. It's a lost opportunity. And
Yeah.
it's a simple thing that can be done, and very basic, simple architecture could do it.
Yeah.
Someone's really tried to think too much.
Yeah,
It's really a lost opportunity, and
it's clunky. It robs away from the sea. I mean, you could have done it as very delicately, almost as if it was almost dematerialized. And that for me, I mean, as buildings like public buildings, where architects are not making an impact on public works. They should be invited by our governments, whichever level of government, and said, okay, we've designed the bridge, we've designed the station, but we need to give it aspect of design which will be, which, say for example, provide less urban stress, will provide higher amount of comfort as a daily user, and also have some civic pride, that, oh, this is the one great building in our city, and you must see it. So that, I think, is severely lacking. So always, as architects, I think our blood boils when we see a lost opportunity, and a lot of people will come forward to do it. I mean, so that these kind of eyesores are rescued.
Sure. And on the flip side, I mean, there are projects that we've done, which we've designed in 98, delivered in 2000, which still shows up as the homepage of Bangalore City,
Wow, that's wonderful.
right? But when you talk about interiors, I would want to redesign quite a few because they're dated now.
Yeah.
We designed 20 years back, technology's changed, the way people work is different. So obviously they really need to be different and to be up to mark with the way people live and work and play today.
So while we're at the Mumbai Coastal Road, I still see it as a Western design coming to India. Do you see a change happening where Indians start appreciating Indian design, the Indian form of fashion, architecture, and move away from the West, or we're still going to be influenced by the West severely?
So, first of all, I don't think that the coastal road is something that's, a narrative of the West, right? It's a means of getting somebody quicker from one place to
No,
the
from
other.
the designing point of view,
Uh,
not the road concept as a whole.
from the design perspective, we try to, reduce the distance or the time travel distance, right? It's a different subject altogether. That the design is not right. Uh, the promenade and the land that they have taken could have been towards the seaside, and the road could have been uh, on the inner side.
Yeah.
So, the public area could be more towards the sea.
Sea.
So there's huge debates on that, but I wouldn't say that it's derived or something that we've taken from the West.
But the general
Simple-
notion
it's
about
simple logic that how do you reduce time travel, and in that again, energy, sustainability, all of those things play.
no, aside from the coastal road, we still prefer Western design over.
See, you have to accept it that most of how the world lives today finds its genesis eventually in a European model. I'm saying today, as I said, it's not how it should have been, could have been, but the technology we use, the clothes we wear, the languages we speak, which of course is a little hurting because as you said rightly, there's so much to delve in our own cultures, uh, uh, legacy, that it's a sad thing that we are not. But I think for that the perspective has to change and become more forward looking. We say culture, but are we really culturally aware? In terms of design, I'm only sticking to that universe. Are we really culturally aware? How many people? I've gone to several monuments alone, and as an excursion, as an architect, and I don't see people who I would normally otherwise see, and I see them say in fancy European countries and cities and cafes. Why am I not seeing them in say Kailash Nada temple, Aurangabad? I'm not seeing them. So when you talk about design, and when you talk about first, the people must know how to engage in that, and when that happens, then you'll start realizing that yes, I can do something which the audience can be pleasantly surprised when bringing in our culture.
I'll put a different perspective to this. So we work with a lot of multinational companies, right, which have a lot of global standards that they bring
Yeah.
along with them.
Yeah.
And we're asked to kind of try and imbibe that in the Indian context. But we add that layer of contextuality, right? Where if there's an office to be done with global standards, and I put it here, it's not going to work, right? Because the way things work overseas is different from the culture that we have.
Correct.
Forget about overseas to coming here. The way we work in Bombay is different from Pune to Bangalore to Hyderabad to Gurgaon. An example, the mode of transport is different,
Yeah.
right? So you come in differently. People in Pune would come in on two-wheelers. So you have to design more for two-wheelers. You have to make space for helmets. So
Yeah.
each place is different. So it has to be contextual. So when we work for multinational clients, we're not designing just, we're more contextual in a sense. How would one be comfortable in that environment to become productive? You can't just plonk something here and say, now you work,
Yeah.
and you're expected to work at 100% productivity, right? So you have to be mindful of productivity levels when you're in a workspace. Likewise, in an environment for anything that you do, for that matter, right? So you have to be comfortable in that space. Otherwise, it's really just superficial. Having said that, while we're doing work here for multinational companies, we've been asked to do work taking this over there now.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, so you can't, but you can't put this onto another geography just as is.
It needs to have that touch of the place you're in.
Touch, it has to be contextual, right?
Yeah.
And it has to
Yeah.
respond to culture, people,
Yeah.
climate, and so many
Everything
other
else,
things.
yeah. A lot of factors. Um, is there any technology that you've used in one of your projects that really fascinates you?
All our projects. We use
Most recent
technology.
one that you're.
So, okay, I'll give you a good example
Yeah.
of, again, an office that we did. We started the design process pre-COVID,
Okay.
right? And there was, like I mentioned earlier, we used sensors to map how many people. That exactly was 1,000 people. We turned out to tell them at that point of time only 600 workstations, and that's it. You're good to go. And then came COVID, where policies changed, way of work changed.
Yeah.
Everything changed, right? And during that period, nobody knew what was happening and what the office environment or the landscape would look like. So again, we did that whole study, and then the company's policies changed. One entire section of people would never come back to work, and they would always work from home. So that many lesser number of workstations needed to be provided.
Yeah.
So again, technology was used to map all of that, and then we finally landed up putting only 400 desks for a strength of 1,000 people. So even pre-COVID, we did another project where one desk was there for 2.5 employees. So again, it depends on the nature of work. There was a marketing office, so nobody really needed to own a desk. So it's a free address.
But anything from an end user's point of view?
We are actually in process of doing a building. We've already started the on ground work. This is in Juhu. It's about 14 stories. And what we're doing is we're using zinc in the facade,
Okay.
and we're using um, a press to twist the metal. And the whole facade is based on the design of a very controlled twisting zinc, which creates an overflowing planter, which then wraps the whole building. So we've had to make formwork drawings. We have to understand the malleability of this new material, at least the new for the kind of work we do. So that's become very fascinating now, and we've had to go back to people who have these kind of metal presses, and they're normally done in the engineering valve design section. Architects would not normally need to liaison with them. So it's very interesting. So I'm just quite excited to.
When's that going to complete?
I think a year more. Yeah.
So there's another interesting project that
Yeah.
I'd like to mention when you said use of technology. So we did a building in Bangalore where we used a different glazing technology. So the glass specification was completely different, where it was dynamic glass. So the property of glass changes when the sun's orientation changes. So if the sun was bang on, the tint of the glass would change.
Okay.
So you didn't need any blinds on the glass. So when you design a building which is completely glazed, you see the building, with blinds rolled half up, down.
Look
Whatever
cumbersome.
facade that you created is really screwed up because of all of that.
Yeah.
So this glass helped you say no blinds, and it's dynamic. So when the sun went overhead, it's clear. When it came back down, you needed to cut glare and heat. The property of glass changed.
Wow.
And that then was linked to the air conditioning system. So the amount of heat that got in from through the glass.
Yeah.
It controlled the air conditioning, the amount of air that is supposed to be pumped in to keep the ambient temperature within, or the set temperature and the air quantity within the space. It controlled that. It also controlled the lighting system. So it spoke to the lighting management system to say, this uniform light has to be there for me to work. It detected amount of light coming in from natural light and therefore reduce and expand the.
And this is all automated.
Sorry?
All automated.
All automated.
That's cool.
All tech-based.
Yeah.
All on one platform.
Wow. Let's get into some fun questions.
Sure.
I believe you're the mafia of the industry. At least that's what everyone calls you. What's the story behind that?
Yeah, we call him Don Carlos, We call him, and you see that appearance, it's got that he's the Philippe Stark of India. So we call him he's gonna let you know.
Yeah. So in the lockdown in COVID, I spent 2 years there. So that gave everyone a chance to experiment with themselves, with their food, and I experimented with my hairdo and the facial hair. So I grew my hair longer. I've got naturally curled hair, and so I guess from an appearance perspective, Philip Stark and whatever. So Don Carlos, and I've had several names. Yeah.
Does Kaif have a name in the industry?
No, I don't think so. KF.
That's it.
What's your go-to place when it comes to sourcing furniture for interior spaces?
I was told not to take names.
City. Milan,
City.
probably?
No, for me, it's a mix of it all.
Okay.
Right? Because we work in different segments. Right? So we do commercial interiors, we do residential interiors as well. So I'd say for our commercial spaces, there's lots of brands that we use. So which could be US based, European based. There's some even in the Southeast Asian brands. So there's no one.
It's a
particular-
combination of all.
It's a combination of it
Okay.
all. But as far as the residential goes, I
Yeah.
think Europe would be the most.
Yeah, we do a lot of bespoke work. So for us, India and Europe actually makes more sense since we do more on the customized kind of design work. So in that still, I would say India is actually doing very well, increasingly year by year. Competency is going up, the levels of the factories, the people who are putting up new ventures are going up. So I think that's why. Europe and India actually are kind of a bit more closer to our work.
I see. What's your go-to place if you want to switch off?
I know his go-to place.
I think everyone
You
knows
know,
about
one of them.
Yeah,
You know, one of them.
it. Spill the beans on that.
But yeah, I mean, I like to travel to switch off, like so many people. But for me, the travel component is
Favorite destination?
favorite destination. I would still say Turkey, few parts of South Italy, um, some parts of India as well, like in the north and all.
Yeah.
So anything that's like a contrast, has a dichotomy to Mumbai, like absolutely on the other side of
Yeah.
things.
For you, besides Alibag?
So I'd say south of Italy for
Okay.
sure. Just take a boat and sail, or go to the Bahamas. Or then if you have to do a lot of other fun stuff, you probably go to Ibiza, one of those.
But you're doing also.
Or even Thailand. It's the best place to go to.
It's everyone's favorite, I think.
But you're pretty chilled and active, or both in Alibag, no?
Yeah. So,
I would say it's his first home.
I would have wanted to call it first
Yeah.
home, but again in the lockdown, it was first home to me. But it's no longer just a relaxed place for me now because we're doing a lot of development there now. So it's not the same because when I'm there, I'm probably working
Yeah,
more than
yeah.
I'm actually taking a break. So, but I'm enjoying that. So
How's that
it's more
going?
fun for me than work. So
Work.
it's a lighter form of
Light.
work.
So you are the real mafia of Alibag then. You can be classified as that.
Some people have said so, but
Yes.
two questions for you.
Yes.
You want to take it
Yeah,
first?
yeah. So we hear that you've just joined, and we want to know your take on what you're seeing around in your company and in your field and in your industry. The eyes are on you now.
I'm looking at it differently. I'm looking to transform the entire place more from just the seller of marble into a solution provider, an end-to-end solution company that sources everything for you and takes it up to installation. And maybe even try changing the entire purchasing method where people have to keep coming to stockyards, but we can start doing that from your homes. So that's something I'm working on, and hopefully it works out well.
So what would you do if you were an architect?
If I was an architect,
Yeah.
in terms of design,
If you were if you had to uh, one, design, two, go to classic marble.
designing, I wouldn't say I'm that creative. I would definitely take inspiration from somewhere else and then try making that my own. Some buildings I'm fascinated by are most of the skyline in New York. The structures that they have really fascinate me. So pick up something from there and bring it back home. And when it comes to classic marble, I would say they take great care of architects because they are the gods in this industry. Uh,
So that's
some
already been taken care of. What would you do differently? Is more.
Yeah.
So the biggest complaint I get from architects, at least the ones who are in Bombay, is
No. If you were the architect,
yeah.
what would you expect classic marble to do differently?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
the question.
okay,
Not,
okay,
not-
okay.
You're not classic marble.
You're the guy
You're
coming
sitting
into
on the
classic.
other side.
Yeah.
You're coming into classic.
Probably have everything at my doorstep. Not want to travel and
You're
come.
answering your same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's simple, man. Arey bossy, this is the best ready marble out of my time. But nowhere in the world you'll get it.
That's what I
can guarantee you that, boss.
That's what I-
Such a material, it is so much perfect.
We got that on camera, right?
અને તારી માટે જ છે, boss. This material you will not get. You put this material only.
See what you have to come up with.
I can't do this for sure. Any other questions?
No, cool. I think good. Yeah, good.
Thank you both of you for joining Evolving Habitat and having this wonderful conversation today. It was very insightful.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us over.
Yeah.
Thank you.